When I sit alone and start to think, my stomach starts to hurt. This is when I understand the situation I'm in, when I really think about it, says Tariq from Syria. Now, imagine you are him. You are 15 years old, walking home from school one day. For a moment, you stop, and you hear your family in your small but lively house. But all of a sudden, a loud explosion occurs, dust and smoke being the only visible thing for miles. In a split second, the happiness that once existed is now gone. This is what I imagine would have been experienced by Tariq as I read about him, about the war in Syria. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that no one is talking about this issue. No one is stopping to think about the children in war zones. So I stand today to speak and initiate a conversation that I think is very important for the world to address today, to shape a better future for us all. Tariq is one of the many voices of children in the world, desperate to be heard. Action needs to be taken before it's too late. Now, what is exactly happening? All over the world, conflict is occurring. Whether in Israel and Gaza, Russia and Ukraine, or even severely oppressive regimes like North Korea, no one has noticed the main stakeholders: children. They are still developing their minds, and being exposed to such violence and conflict leaves a lifelong impact and scar. The World Vision Organization has recorded more than 71 million children witnessing their loved ones dying from 2000 to 2021. This number is the addition to the world population in 2024. This is how many children are affected and face generational trauma. As a result, children living in war zones are affected terribly, and this leads to permanent mental health damage. But what are the actual impacts? The behaviors of these children change significantly. Some of these are mental health disorders, such as depression, anxiety, trauma, and psychosomatic symptoms. The Save the Children Foundation found that 85 to 90% of children getting mental health diseases were from living in war zones and witnessing conflict. This also leads to behavioral issues, and so many children will turn to the influence of gangs to guide them. In addition, children will no longer have pride in their country. They will feel desperate, sad, and build conflicts with their loved ones. I'm sure many of us have heard of Anne Frank, a Jewish girl who hid from the Nazi during World War II and showed resilience as an adolescent. But did you know she was fighting with her family on a daily basis? She quotes the following in her diary: "I see the world transforming into wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder that will one day destroy us all too. I feel the suffering of millions." And examples of this can also be found in our local community with refugees in Oberhausen. The Hessen Park Foundation records many young refugees struggling after fleeing from war. It is said that their memory often weighs too heavily, and the resulting fear that their persecutors are still pursuing them in Germany today is too great. The war zones are changing children's view of the world, and this is not for the better. But why should we care? Imagine yourself in their position. Wouldn't you have dreams and hopes for yourself? Would you want to continue living in a war zone? Wouldn't you rather be yourself and live life to the fullest, not be a victim of trauma and mental health disorders? You are more than just data and statistics being published in news articles. There's another dark aspect to brushing away the trauma of these kids: the security of their future. If these are ignored and children do happen to end up on the wrong side of the law, then the challenges of law enforcement in the future will only increase. Every kid deserves a chance. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a key piece of legislation for this. So let's take action so that we don't leave ourselves wondering what could have been for these children in war zones. Now, to take action for this egregious problem, I would like to put forward a 3-step approach to changing the impacts of war zones on children's mentalities. Step 1, raising awareness. Everyone should talk about the pure perspective of children. Not political, not religious, not sectarian, not anything, but just the perspective of the innocence of a child in such a place. Talk about the impressions that form. Take what you have learned from this speech, go do more research, and make sure everyone is aware of this issue. Not many of us think of children's mentalities when it comes to such violence. Therefore, raising awareness can help change the discourse, help change the narratives when thinking of solutions. Step 2, making donations and signing petitions. Organizations such as World Vision, CJPME, Save the Children, and more accept donations and use them to help the affected children. Petitions by the International Pediatric Association and Change.org can be signed as pleas to the government to do something. Step 3. Today, mental health sciences have advanced so much that a lot of psychiatric disorders are reversible. Especially with AI in today's world, being able to provide counseling to those who don't have access will make huge strides. By enabling access to these digital therapeutics, we can reverse the doom and gloom in their minds, heal their hearts, and move towards happiness and prosperity. As my time here comes to an end, I want us all to realize that we are capable of taking action to stop children from losing pride, harming themselves, and getting mental health disorders. It will improve the outlook that these children have on life. They are our next generation, and we need to make sure every one of them is able to see the light in their future. In a few years, I imagine Tariq saying, "I am an adult. I saw deaths with my own eyes every day. The blood of my loved ones escaped. I struggled with mental health. But with the help of millions across the world, life is pretty good at this moment." Thank you.